Today, we uncover how a married woman ends the life of her husband after seeing a naked photo of a woman in his phone. As crazy as this is the reality of Marian Sanda. Marian Sanda, who was the daughter of a prominent figure, Mamuna Aliu, a respected former executive director of ASO Saving and Loans, and a well-known member of the Nigerian elite. Born into comfort and privilege, Mariam grew up with access to education, opportunity, and social circles that many could only dream of. It was within one of these circles she met Baliu Bello, a well-spoken and charming young man from another influential family. Baliu was the son of a former People's Democratic Party (PDP) national chairman, Bello Mohammed, a man of political power and wealth. The two seemed destined for each other, young, educated, and well-connected, from families that were well known around the country. Their love bloomed quickly, leading to marriage, and soon they welcomed a child. But behind the public smile and polished photos, there was the marriage slowly sinking under the weight of suspicion, jealousy, and unspoken resentment. Friends and close associates could later say that Marian was deeply possessive and jealous. She was reportedly accusing her husband of the various things that the husband claimed not to be aware of. She reportedly accused her husband of infidelity multiple times, especially after discovering messages and pictures on his phone that hinted at other women. Her husband, on the other hand, was described to be patient and reserved, a man who often avoided confrontation, but the quarrels in their home was becoming frequent and intense. Neighbor had heard many shouting matches. Family members have tried to intervene, urging the couple to make peace and seek for their children. Yet, the more they try, the worse they become. A lot of family members who were in support of their marriage could no longer bear the hurt that the two couples were facing after constantly reminding them the love they once had. But however, they tried to find their love again, but it was nowhere to be found. That Sunday night was supposed to be quiet. The couple had returned to their home in Abuja after attending a friend's event, but before the night was over, their love story ended in blood. According to the court report and witness accounts, Mariam and her husband began another argument, one of many that week. The issue was said to be the messages Mariam had seen on his phone, alleging from another woman. The shout escalated, voices raised, insults flew, and furniture was pushed. The raid was heard around the compound, and neighbors wondered what could have happened that would demand such raise of voices. The argument intensified, but everybody was wondering what was really going on in the marriage and what was going on behind closed doors. They were known to be very secretive from their neighbors, so neighbors could not know what was going on. They were very quiet and they lived quietly without letting anybody know their whereabouts. The only things that the neighbors could remember from the couple was their raised voices and their frequent arguments that could last for hours. In a range, Mariam reportedly stabbed a kitchen knife and lunged it at her husband. What happened next could remain a point of contention throughout the trial, but the evidence later revealed that her husband was stabbed multiple times in the chest and neck, and the knife cut deep, rupturing vital organs. Realizing what she had done, Mariam panicked. She screamed for help and rushed him to a nearby hospital in Abuja National Hospital, but by the time they arrived, her husband was already lifeless. Doctors tried to revive him, but the wound was too severe. He was pronounced dead on arrival. The news spread across Abuja elite community. A young mother, a woman of privilege, was allegedly said to have murdered her husband in cold blood. Mariam was arrested shortly after the incident and police began an investigation. At first, she denied any wrongdoing, insisting it was an accident and that she would never meant to kill her husband and it happened during a struggle. But investigation found evidence that contradicts her claims. The knife bore her fingerprints and the wound on her husband's body suggested a deliberate force. Her mother tried to intervene, offering explanation and pleading to the police regarding the issue, but the police held firm that this was a murder case and they were not going to let it go unpunished, that they were going to ensure that they investigate the issue and make sure that there is justice for the victim. The victim being a very prominent person in the society, the police claim that they are not going to let any stone unturned, and they are going to continuously investigate the issue and make sure that this victim justice is served, and if the wife is found guilty, that she was going to go to prison for the crimes that she had committed. The case was brought before the Federal Capital Territory High Court. The prosecution painted Miriam as a jealous wife who could not control her temper, a woman driven by obsession and rage. Witnesses, including family, friends, and investigators, testified about the toxic nature of the marriage and the events leading to the fatal night. The defense urged that it was not intentional, that Miriam acted in self-defense or by accident. They portrayed her as a loving wife who snapped in a moment of emotional turmoil. But the evidence was overwhelming. Photos of the crime scene, medical reports, and witnesses' accounts all pointed to intentional harm. It showed that the argument has been frequent, and this was not the first time, neither was it the second time, that she had actually had an outburst to her husband. But this was the time that led her to a point of no return. They were able to show from accounts from the neighbor how many grievous arguments that they have had over the years of them being married. After nearly 3 years of trial, on January 27, 2020, the court delivered its verdict. Judge Yusuf Haliu found Miriam Sanda guilty of killing her husband Bello and sentenced her to death by hanging. As the sentence was pronounced, the courtroom erupted in gasps. Miriam broke down, crying uncontrollably, lunging to her baby as security officer tried to drag her. She screamed with the judge, "Please, I didn't kill him intentionally." But the court decision was firm, and the evidence showed intention, and the law had to serve its course. Miriam's legal team quickly filed an appeal, arguing that the prosecution failed to provide intent beyond reasonable doubt. The case went to Court of Appeal in Abuja, but in March 2022, the court upheld the death sentence, reaffirming Miriam was guilty of intentional homicide. For many Nigerians, this ruling brought a sense of justice, but for others, it was a sad reminder of how love can easily change to hatred and how unchecked anger can destroy everything. That is how Miriam was sentenced to death for the death of her husband. This is the news for today, my people. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this post with your family and friends.